Over in Belgium, there's 5 abbeys that brew their own beer still. And there's one in particular we liked because they made a beer that really nobody else had. And what made it so unique was it was fermented not only with a wonderful Belgian yeast, but it was re-fermented with Brettanomyces. And Brett, how we say it in the beer business, is kind of a wild yeast that originally liked to live in barrels. Well, over the last 100 years, we've cleaned our beers up. Winemakers have done the same, so a lot of that kind of rustic flavor has gone out. I miss it. I like that rustic flavor. I like that nice farmhouse, barnyard flavor. So when we decided we'd make our own Belgian style beer, we'd make it that style. We ferment it first with a wonderful Belgian yeast. We hop it with European hops like Saaz and Styrian Golding. They give it a nice hoppy character to it. And then after it's done fermenting, we start the process over again. We introduce a second yeast strain, Brettanomyces. And that Brett stays in the beer after we bottle it, so it continues to ferment it. So we put a 5-year date code on there, and I can tell you from experience, we've had it in the bottle for 5 years now, it definitely holds up very well. The Brett gives it that characteristic Belgian flavor, that funkiness you really only get in those very traditional Belgian farmhouse type ales. And it really is a beer that's going to have enough complexity to match up with food as well or better than most wines will. What we found is it's a great crossover beer. We get people who might not always ask for a beer first. If they try Matilda, that's their new beer of choice because it's got a complexity you usually don't find in a beer. And we are able to get those martini drinkers, the wine drinkers, the champagne drinkers coming over to the beer side with some Matilda. We love pairing Matilda with food because it's so versatile. It really handles seafood so well, especially when it's a little spicy, that we're doing it with a nice Italian style seafood stew, ciappino, and it's a real nice match. It highlights some of those nice flavors from the seafood, and then that spice that kicks in. Matilda's got just enough malt balance to really balance that spice out. It is a gorgeous match with a funky cheese. So when you're thinking of cheeses like a brie that's got a nice moldy white rind, or even better, a wash rind cheese that's got a little bit of stink to it, you put that together with a Matilda and you will have a match that you will not be able to touch with a glass of wine.